Celtic, the absolute dominant force in Scotland, winning title after title after title after title. And this season looks no different. Yes, they do have company in Aberdeen, but their closest rivals, Rangers, completely fallen off it. And the dominance has me thinking, is it too easy for the Hoops? Do they need a new challenge? Because they're just dominating Scotland now. However, not doing well in Europe, failing to attract loads of talent, as maybe they have more luck attracting talent in the Premier League. As Brendan Rodgers has the challenge, it's only Celtic moving to England to try and dominate the Premier League and also do better in Europe, as he has to keep a mostly Scottish team, 6 Scottish players in fact, and take them towards winning the Champions League title. Yes, people, a little bit of a long intro, but I feel like I've explained it. This is the team we're coaching. It is Celtic. It is a good squad. For the Scottish League, however, maybe not for the league we're in now, because we are in the Premier League and we've took over Southampton, who are bottom of the table, so at least we've got Ipswich to compete with, but it's going to be difficult, and it's only Celtic that's moved on. All the other Scottish clubs can finally fight it out for a title. Oh, and plus Southampton, because we've obviously had to swap with them, as we now look to win the English trophies, get one over England, and make it to the UCL, winning that, as these are our players. The best one's a 37-year-old Schmeichel, and the second best is a 31-year-old Callum McGregor. Now, this is a little bit worrying because, as I mentioned in the intro, 6 Scottish players needed, and that is a lot to get, especially when our second best is a 26-75 rated Greg Taylor. He might not make the UCL final, making this rebuild difficult. We need to find 6 Scottish players to fit in our squad. They can go on the bench, but we want them in the first team, and I'm thinking going wing play. Stick with the formation, just take us a little bit balanced. Not too deep, because we do have a CDM in that man McGregor, as I believe that is our starting lineup. Just one change we've had to make, which is Carter Vickers in the lineup. And yeah, that's it. As any young Scottish players we could loan out? No, but Arnie Engels, I can't believe he's permanent here. Gonna have to try and use him as Adam Montgomery. 21-year-old though, still a little bit old for my liking. At 63 rated, and the worst thing about Celtic in the Premier League is the budget, only £80 million to spend. And that's not good at all, but one thing we've kind of looked out with, we already have a 5-star academy scout. So what I'm going to do, of course, we've got no Scottish players currently. I'm going to clean out this academy and then go look for some Scottish ballers. Holding hope in Knight, our scout in shining armour, as I'm trying to cover each position, fullback, centre-back, centre-mid, right wing, which leaves us with 24 million. I'm guessing that comes from releasing youth, and I don't mind that really, as now let's look for a permanent signing. Not through the academy, and I do want to go Scottish first, and centre-back first, because we do have a 74 rated there. And one of the best is Jack Henry, but he is 29-year-old, and probably won't make the UCL final, so we've got to keep on looking. As I scrolled past this man, Ibane Boa, a left footer. 68 overall though, is he really going to play season 1? Maybe not, but you know, we could actually make a plan of this. Loan our Scottish boys out, even if we just sign them for the future, as now we move to look for an attacker. And the best one that I can see is Tommy Conway at Middlesbrough, but he's just signed for them. Is there anyone a little bit better? Not really on that list, but there is a player for the future. Ben Doak, the only issue, he's currently on loan from Liverpool, which is a shame, because it's going to make it harder to sign him. And I was going to say play it safer, going for Tommy Conway, 3 million, but he's rejected 20k a week, which is outrageous. I'm not going to be signing him if he's asking for that much money, and at least we can fall on our youth. We've got a 66, a 65. They can all go and get loan listed and hopefully grow like Ibane Boat. I do want to improve them, but I ultimately know we rely upon this team to keep us in the Premier League. Got so obsessed with, you know, the Scottish players at the club, I forgot about the current players at the club. So yeah, we've got some decent ratings. Alistair Johnson could maybe stick around, because he's almost in the 80 club, and McGregor, well, he is, but of course he's 31. Can't forget we can have 5 players, of course, from outside of Scotland as our top scorers. Aren't Scottish players in Kun, Fushihari and Maeda. And this is how the team is looking. It hasn't played Scales and Schmeichel, but yes, on the whole, it does look like it should survive. Grow for the future, maybe not. And I actually did just correct a mistake, because when you look at the team again, we only have 2 Scottish players. So on the bench, we had 9 subs all season. So we had Ralliston, Welsh, Forrest and McCowan to make it 6 in the squad. And we had Engels in the squad, who can, to be fair, move into the first team now. 21-year-old. Ton of potential in him. Same with Paulo Bernardo, as these are how our lone boys have done. From the academy, as Wood's done well, and also Arthur Brown. 2 right wingers, what I didn't want, and Ebane Boa. We could not get him a loan out, as I also loaned Jun out. He looked a very decent player, and hey, we've survived decently. 12th place in the table. Yes, I know it's not a Champions League spot, but that's decent for our first season, and of course I want to win more trophies. Just because we're in England, we can't roll over for the likes of Liverpool. We'll have to build ourselves up, as round 4 we lost to Arsenal, and in the Carabao quarter-final, losing to Liverpool on penalties. The eventual winners, and I think actually moving us out of Scotland, replaced us in the Champions League. So yes, we didn't play in it. Not bothered about it season 1. I knew we'd lose in the league phase. But one thing I'm very bothered about is if you guys enjoy the video, you make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video if you do like this challenge, because it's going to take a while. In my opinion anyway, as one thing I didn't do in season 1, because I think it will help us with, I keep saying it, but our Scottish objective. I didn't renew the contract of Schmeichel, who was our best player, because I knew he was going down. He's 38-year-old after all. And I don't think we'll really miss him, as we don't have a left back as well. Did Greg Taylor leave us? Because Donaldson's now in the squad. As we've got all our lone boys back as well, so they can go onto the bench or get loaned out again, as we've got 56 million now. That is what you get, because we didn't spend most of our budget. Get in there, we actually have money to spend. So you know what I'm gonna do firstly? Get over and scout Scotland, because sure, there's some talent hiding there. More talent, as then do we focus on our Scottish signings? Maybe for another season, but then I'm going to look elsewhere. I'll look for another striker. I think midfield we're kind of covered with, and if we could get a decent centre-back, maybe not from Scotland, to replace Scales, because Boa hasn't worked. Trusty, I'm never going to trust him. So maybe Lucas Beraldo, the man from PSG, probably costs most of our budget, but then the Scottish players we want to sign, not costing much anyway. Tommy Conway, 3.6, which I thought about paying. I actually offered 4.5 million, but he's turned 30k a week down. Does this man want a Premier League move? Apparently not, but someone who does is Beraldo. Now this is funny, we can't get a championship player, but we can get one from the champions of France, who might be a bit unrealistic, but hey, we need to survive, don't we? And it is a Premier League move, as I've also put Ralston next to him. We'll change him to a left back, and hey, we need all the help possible, especially when the best Scottish keeper is 74 rated. Kinda leading me away from him. Maybe we don't go for a Scotsman there. Do we just go Luis Jr., a Brazilian, to join the Brazilian? That is another player in, and I hate to keep on repeating myself, but now we've got a keeper. We have got to look for more Scottish players. I'm sorry, I really want them. I want to build them into the first team, not just the bench, which does count, and this man definitely could be worthy of starting. It's Ben Doak, and unlike Tommy Conway, he actually accepts a role in the team on a decent enough wage, as now the only thing left to do is go and look at our academy to see any bright sparks. And I'll wait until the end of the season to show you the academy, because it's no good as it is. It wasn't good when we put it through. 2 players have walked out. One was 52 rated, the other 61, but I don't really miss them at all. They didn't have potential like the ones now. As look at the ones I've loaned out. Right, we've got some good growth going on. Arthur Brown has now hit a 70, and Rogerson also a 70. That's our McGregor replacement, as also doing well is Doak. Now as a winger as well, goes to a 76 overall. I watched him play for Middlesbrough the other day, and I'm a huge fan of his. And a huge fan of this team. Okay, we've got a few 80s around the club. Ralston probably has to go, not increased, not a fan. And then on the bench though, Adam Eder, he's only 25. Jun is 24, a rating lower, but he has potential. Then Doak and Bernardo, who I thought was only a loan player. Gotta get him into the team. The only problem is you drop McGregor or you do drop Hatate, and I don't want to do that as well. As top scorers this season, right, a 31 for a Hashi scoring. And then Nicholas Gunn, who's 26, he could have a decent career. The only other thing we've got to watch is that left-hand side, as it's a good job there were worse teams. We only survived by 6 points this year. Going backwards, I don't like it, as a Fulham derby in the FA Cup, which Fulham go and win as we lost in the semis to them. All our effort into that one, as then the Carabao Cup we don't do well in. Our first real bad cup set, as we were beaten by a Welsh team 1-0 in round 2, and this year I've signed contracts up, I've done mostly everything. Yeah, it's just the left-hand side. That is our primary focus. Left back a requirement, as Donaldson, I forgot about him. Yeah, he's not going to be first team worthy, is he? 66 rated. And Ralston, I forgot him. I've actually changed him round to a left back, but his rating doesn't increase. And he's definitely not a long-term solution. Ooh, as another change, McGregor to a centre mid, now 83 overall. It might buy him a few more years in the first team as a player, looking to make the first team, and maybe fixing the left wing with a player here. It is Ben Doak. Stick him in there on the wing. Yes, you can't see his rating because he's got called up for Scotland. Very good, as McGregor the same, and we're going to have to change the formation now. Not drastically, just to a flat one. We're going to bring the CDM up and going to approach games with a bit more of a high mentality. Or high approach, as another thing. I know he's not trained there just yet, but I'm going to have inside forwards, and I've changed most of the positions around to this. Yes, it's a 4-3-3 flat formation, but slightly attacking, with Engels being kind of a devoid role in the centre mid. Not devoid, disguised. He goes forward as our budget goes down slightly, but up overall because it's 54 million instead of 18, which we did have in that first season. So yes, it's going to be left back and striker that I focus on, because for a Hashi, 31 might not last any longer, but one player I was desperate for since I realised left back was an issue. It's got to be Kieran Tierney. Can I call him a Celtic legend? I mean, he did win a lot with the club, you know. And since he went to Arsenal, well, you can see how that's going. He's been sold to Palace as a high wage, but I'm so glad to have KT back. And I'm so glad to finally secure the services of Tommy Conway. And as you just saw, we paid a lot for him, but has this worked out good for us? Because now he's 76 rated, so he has had time to grow elsewhere as he goes into the first team with Tierney, making it 5 Scottish players in the first team and a few on the bench, including Ralston and Bowat, giving us another excuse to loan these lads out. Rogerson, Miller and Wood with another loan deal. Brown included could be good for us, so I'm not going to touch the academy, but I am going to touch the 17 million left, and I don't have to go Scottish. I can go for anybody who will be useful, as this man looks a utility man. Another Brazilian player relegated with Leeds United from this division as we're struggling to stay up. It is Felipe Augusto. Just an extra player for our ranks, as I am getting rid of a player so he can take his position. Thank you for a Hashi, but your time is done. Not needed no more, as, oh, we've got some good youngsters there. But it's the first team I'm more bothered about. Okay, we're getting into the 80s. Kieran Tierney into the 80s. Okay, he's still below 30 as well. McGregor's gone over that. So one Scotsman gets good, and the other one goes and gets bad. As goal scorers, though, another good one. Tommy Conway has been played, 12 goals, less than Nicholas Kuhn, who is now the highest rated, and we have got a decent team. Ben Doak, the only bad thing as well. We get one good, one bad, one good. Felipe Augusto really hasn't played. Maeda. Do I really want to use this guy? He was the hero of the Salfrd save. The last video on the channel is look how many reserves we actually have here. Money shouldn't be an issue for next year if we sell all of those. As we could also sell these. Now, I'm not going to do that. Maybe Donaldson. But some good youth players. Reece Rogerson. He can replace McGregor. 75 as a centre mid, as this should get Doak some game time. Changing him to a left winger. Still, he is lower rated than Maeda. Hoping they swap at some point, as oh my days, we're in the Champions League. A 4th place finish above City, above Chelsea. Brilliant for the Hoops, as where did we finish in the FA Cup? Okay, we were beaten by Watford. Entertaining game, but in round 4. And we didn't win the Carabao Cup. That goes to Manchester United, as we exited on penalties to Everton. It seems like the more effort we put into the Premier League, the worse we did in Cups. But still, I'm not complaining, because it did help the ratings in this squad. As where do we go from here? I keep saying it at the end of every season. Probably just McGregor gets replaced, and then we check our budget. Should be higher this season, and look at that for Celtic. I mean, we did release a high-paid player, but 142 million. Are you joking me for this team? As yes, McGregor's gone down another rating. He definitely needs replacing, as there's just something weird about this squad. We've got Doak at 21, who didn't grow. Fair enough, he didn't get played. Tierney now at 30, who grew and probably stays in the team. McGregor even grew, and Bernardo hasn't grown on the bench. And Boat hasn't grown, and he was 21-year-old when he came in. And still, the reserves, like I said, we've got players piled on here. As maybe Bernardo gets his chance. Right, we put him into the first team. Rogerson on the bench, surely he plays at some point. Well, he'll definitely play a part, because after all, he is a Scotsman. And then we spend the rest of this money maybe on another midfielder or another striker. Even though we just signed 2, literally in the last window, in Conway and Augusto. We just have the money for it. So, you know, when you have the money, you might as well do it. But firstly, I'm going to check Scotland again. Have we missed any big players? Any had bizarre growth? Well, there's Connor Barron, but we can't sign him. He's probably winning the Scottish title with the rivals, Rangers. And we aim to win the English title, as there is Lyle Cameron. Ooh, but Josh Doig. Now, I know we've just signed Kieran Tierney, but Doig is just brilliant. And the second best player I could find is Leonard. I did find Aaron Hickey, but I don't want to go with him this save. And same with Lewis Ferguson. I wanted a break from them 2 players that I constantly sign in career mode, and I'll go different with Doigi. And that's as probably done for Scottish players for this season especially. We have enough at the moment, but is there anything we've missed in the Premiership? The Scottish one, as I'm guessing the best players will be at Rangers, and then Southampton, who we did swap with, they have Cameron Archer. Don't really want to get him, and I'm hoping the Saints are beating Rangers to the league title every season just to do it for the Hoops. As no, we didn't miss anyone, so instead, we're gonna go bold. Go for a player not working in real life, or should I say inconsistent, really? Darwin. I don't want to get a copyright from Pete Bock. Darwin Núñez, that's who we want. Of course, not the biggest Liverpool player. When Salah's knocking about, and hey, they did sell him, and Liverpool's loss is going to be Celtic's gain. So sorry to the signings we just made, the Scotsman, but Núñez, he has to go up front, and I know it is knocking a Scottish player out, and we've somewhat got to push the boat out and go and get the best of the best, who aren't just Scottish players, as we still have 65 million. So sorry to Paulo Bernardo, I've kind of wrecked his career in this one. Oh well, not to worry, because we've got Neil Ayuni or El Ainawi, who's actually cost a lot, the Moroccan. It's a sign that we're a Champions League club for definite now. In fact, a lot of the players already here have realised how much money we had and demanded higher wages, as look at Tate's money. Horrendous demands, as to be fair, he's one of the highest rated, but no, he isn't. I spoke too soon without looking at the defence. Beraldo, Carter Vickers, he's an OG who isn't demanding that much. And Johnson, our captain, what a flying right back he looks. 95 pace. Now, El Ayoni hasn't played. Rogerson can go in. I mean, Bernardo's even higher rated. And Maeda, 86, the hero of one of the last rebuilds. He now goes into the first team. He only waited till Doak turned up. To grow is now our bench. We've got 4 Scottish players and 2 currently in the first team. So 7 in the first team squad. And 6 has to be the minimum. So we kind of near the bottom line. I think in order to improve, we have to sell to buy with our current players. Maybe Carter Vickers next year because he's 30 in the centre-back slot. Get in there, Darwin. The same amount of goals as actually Maeda. Yeah, since Doak turned up and trained as a left winger, who I thought would be the good player, for us moving forward, this guy just turned sicko mode. Scoring for fun. Is he up there on goals? I believe he is. Arnie Engels got most in the Prem, and 14 and 13 goals for Maeda in the Premier League, and I believe they both played 60 games plus. Tells me only one thing. We've gone far in the Champions League. Or cup competitions in general, if they actually have played that many games. As only Manchester City sits in our way, but still, it's Champions League again. Second is actually brilliant, and the FA Cup is not so brilliant. We did lose in the semis, but come on, Aston Villa. We need to get past them, as finally our first trophy in England. The Scottish team starting to dominate, getting a trophy in a foreign country. The Carabao Cup is won, beating Fulham, not a top 6 team. Well, there might be soon in real life, but still it's a good achievement. As the league phase sitting 6th, no defeats is what I'm focusing upon. As we beat Roma in the round of 16, 5-4, a very close encounter. Oh my days, 5-4 against Madrid. Okay, this could actually be happening. Oh, but no, the Champions League semi-final by a Leverkusen, man. We were 2-2 after the first leg. Could have been against Liverpool. Maybe our bench is not where it's strongest. As I know Ralston is Scottish, but we don't even have a centre-back there. It could be a shout, but also another negative. Callum McGregor retiring. I knew he wouldn't sign a new deal. So that's him out of the squad. And if we do replace Ralston, that's us down to 5 Scottish players, which of course isn't enough. So really have to be careful. Maybe we keep Ralston in the reserves. Or the bench, sorry, as El Anawi. He needs to stay there. Or screw it, he needs to go back in. Rogerson can grow from the bench as a Scotsman. And Carter Vickers the next out. The only issue with him again is if he drops to the bench, because of course we'd want to keep him here. That takes Rallison's spot. And that is another Scottish out. So yeah, problems all over the place. At least we're doing well playing-wise and playing budget-wise. Because 174 million? Now we're getting Man City budgets, and I never thought we'd get that here. As do we just go for the best of the best? Bremer, he is 31. So it's not really younger than Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers acts as experience. So we should really go younger, and we do have Nico Schlotterbeck. Left-footed, but you see, I think could really work for this Celtic team. 82.5, come on, we've got to get the 28-year-old. As that UCL title needs winning, but his wage man, 200k, again a week for a player. Rebuild's a harsh cycle, man. We get all the money for a budget, and it all goes into wages, as look at that, he's the second highest paid player, and he's new, as there he is, he goes in the defence as Kieran Tierney. The next weakest player, but again, is a Scotsman. As in fact, McGregor stayed on the bench. I have simmed a few days now. Is he retiring this season, or is he retiring the year after? Looks like he might be staying, and you know what the best thing for this man would be? Winning that Champions League, or at least the Premier League with him. And you might have seen around him, yes, all them players out of contract, taking our budget all the way down to 28 million from 174. Almost a million in contracts, and we have 3 more highest paid. Stupidly, I signed up Carter Vickers thinking he might stay here. Maybe as a reserve player even, because we need to fit our Scottish players in. And then Johnson 260, Kuhn 320. Unreal wages. I think the most logical thing to do is check for another centre-back. And to be fair, we have found one who's Scottish, Rory Leach. He can now go onto the bench over Ralston. Yes, he's not as high rated, but of course, he's a centre-back. And he may not be Champions League level. Heck, even Championship, but we really need him, so we're going to take him on. Hasn't been getting played, but it's a Scotsman on our bench, as we've got a few there. Carter Vickers, he has been getting played, but this is the main team that has been played, and look at the ratings. Sure, a shame the lot aren't Scottish, but we've got 291s in junior, and Darwin Núñez reviving his career at Celtic. Not what I expected, as Engels and Kuhn are doing well. Johnson, 89, the captain still doing wonders. He was higher rated than Schlotterbeck. Let's just take that into account, as Maeda, 43 goals. This man is just a gem in career mode. And he isn't even one of our highest paid, so shows you he's waited for his chance. As our loan boys this season, you can see Augusto and 3 young Scotsmen have gone out on loan, but one thing I thought I'd realised, it must have been a release clause, but Reece Rogerson has left. And that's a shame, because he could have played LA Uni. He was actually younger than. There's only one first-team Scotsman, and that's Tierney at 31. Still, 6 on the bench makes it 7 overall. We could actually get rid of one of those. But the weakest is McGregor, man, and I can't take him off the bench, as I think we made 50 million from selling Rogerson, or his release clause did, which is pretty sad, but a 10-point gap at the top of the Prem isn't, as that is another big title in England. We are starting to dominate more than I actually thought, because when we check the FA Cup, a 5-1 hammering of Norwich City makes it 2 trophies out of 2. Could we do a full sweep here of England? As all my days, actually we have done it. A treble for Celtic outside of their home nation, and that's beating United. But here we get foreign teams, as everyone above us foreign. At least we didn't lose to any English clubs. And one thing I've never done is actually check for any Scottish teams in Europe, as Rangers near the bottom of the Europa League. That should make Celtic fans happy. If you're watching, I am glad for you. As we beat Juve 3-2, that is a team I kind of expect to be beaten. I actually think we're good enough, as then Liverpool 5-1, and then Leverkusen 5-4. We get revenge in the semi-finals to play Madrid, a very difficult team, but still a team we should beat if everybody's on form, and I've got a way to try and get them on it. And that is by playing our high game, or actually making it aggressive, and changing around our tactics for Hatate in the middle. Yes, changing things up, because when I actually looked into the team, I didn't realise that he is actually a good cam. As sure, it does say centre mid, but his other position was cam, and Engels wasn't as good at shooting as our captain Johnson. Look at this run. It is Maisie, and a ball to the box, almost on someone's head, but we still do keep the ball here. It is Nicholas into El Ayani trying to run round. It's Núñez, not in the middle. It is someone else, and we've got the shot off. Falls to Maeda, and it's in the back of the net straight away. A little bit of a lucky one, but he did take the shot on. And I think this is the first time ever on the MWS channel doing rebuilds we've had the same player score twice in 2 finales in a row. Or just score in double game days, should I say. That'd make it easier. I won't spoil the Salford vid. Kind of have. He did score in the final. Won't spoil the score though, and look at this. He's having a field day off it. He's defending from the front. A ball towards Darwin Núñez, as he almost beat his old teammate Alisson, as we've got a lot of players with this boost on. I love it. As Nicholas with the boost going to the back post to look for Maeda again. So goddamn unlucky, as we have a Celtic legend back in our ranks. Kieran Tierney left the club to go to Arsenal for big money. He's running down the wing and putting a ball into the box. It's now Maeda. He goes back to Tierney. Loving this left-hand side. Was our weakest at the start, with even Maeda in it. He's had the comeback of dreams for his rating, as that is a good ball. Punched away by Alisson. Just love the winger we have. As, oh, that was a risky pass. We had a man on his back, but still, we've come out of the Real Madrid trap nicely. And oh, look at the pace. It is Nicholas Kuhn on this wing. He needs to get the ball into the middle if he can. Darwin Núñez! Good running by Kuhn though, as now we need to get the ball back to him. Here he is, Nicholas Kuhn. Can he try and get around his player? That is brilliant skill. This man, it's gone from Maeda to the other side. And hang on, when he crossed that, has he won a penalty? Nice one, Nick. I mean, it makes sense. Nicholas getting a penalty nearer to Christmas as Darwin Núñez. Can he have a miracle scoring in a UCL final? Yes, he can. Darwin Núñez, not the player I expected to score, but he does. The Celtic fans going absolutely mental, as that is a brilliant penalty. I mean, side netting as well. Just what the doctor ordered as Maeda. Come on, we need more goals still. I'm not happy with just the 2, as Arnie Engels hasn't been involved much. Tries to put a ball into the box. No handball on that occasion, but a corner to be crossed in, and that is going towards Maeda. One of the smallest, Darwin Núñez. I think he's won another penalty. It's a handball by Jimenez. Somehow at Real Madrid. The Atleti Uruguayan centre-back, I just think it's a bit of confusion, but still, they didn't clear it in the first place. Legit penalty in my eyes, as it could be 3-0 Celtic, and it is the other way. Alisson standing, no chance. And I've skipped it. Do you know what? I feel confident. 3-0 up. I feel like Darwin Núñez could, if he's good, get a hat-trick against one of his former keepers, as that is a ball towards him. So close to being on the end of it, as on my days, that should have been a goal. Arda Güler, as they've just woken up, 3-0 down. I mean, it makes sense. They don't want to get smashed. But Beraldo with the tackle. Engels wins it back, and Darwin Núñez towards Maeda. He's not going to get on the end of it. The whistle should blow anytime soon. We need to get a tackle in here if we are going to go for this next goal, as that was close to the keeper, took him out. That could be a red card, you know. Dodgy by Hatate, and hey, it's only a yellow. So he should be still on the field for when the final whistle goes. We almost robbed the ball. Darwin Núñez's pressure and his brace makes Celtic European champions. And yes, I've just updated the game, and it's beautiful again. We do have the Champions League trophy. Thank you, EA, for fixing it. There's the captain lifting it, but I kind of want to see the bus parade. We won everything this season, literally four trophies. I mean, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Wait for a view. Quadruple winners, the bus says. As this has to be the most successful rebuild we've ever done. As if you want to see another Scottish team, maybe we go to the other side Rangers. Comment it down below, or comment any team you do want to see. And also, don't forget to smash a like on the video. And if you do want to see other stuff, click either of my hands for another rebuild.